Hello, hello. Welcome again to these sessions. Hope you guys had a good night rest or good start of the week if you're joining us today for the first time. Um, for people that are new, for those who are new, this is an open forum where we take turns answering questions. We have a few resources that we'll share with you in the chat while this is going on. I'm shadowed by Robert that will be answering questions in the chat. If at any point in time you want to speak, raise your hand, open your mic, we'll bring you in and you will be able to ask your question openly. Um, the major announcement that we have coming back from where we left off yesterday, if you were there, if you're not welcome, if you weren't welcome. So we have a launch tomorrow, a new update to the nav tool, the lead nav, and we definitely recommend taking the time to attend if you have the time. If not, keep in mind basically the replay event. If you are on Facebook, you'll be able to find the page on Facebook. I'm going to share basically what I have here. The announcement is on the Nowsite official or Nowsite Facebook page here. You'll be able to find the link in the group. It's a good use also of social media for those who are looking at Facebook promotion and how to create interest around what you offer. Good for everybody? Perfect. Any questions? Anybody has something on their mind that they would want to bring about so we can openly share and gain from it? If we don't, what I'll do is yesterday, Robert brought up a very interesting tool that we haven't really covered, at least not in this session. And it's something that we definitely want to get to understand so that we can prepare for it. It's, I was during these sessions, you were with me. We were talking a lot about getting ready and getting the business product profile ready for the conversation. And in the end, through Nav, we're about to have conversation. So the tool here, right, which is the third icon, the write a message tool becomes a very important tool, understanding how we craft these messages to follow through the nav conversation. What we're going to do here, I'm going to show the mechanics. So I'm going to bring about any prospect just to be able to load the messaging tool so we can really access all the functions, right? So again, this is a simple step to take at any point in time. If you're looking to speak or engage with a specific prospect, you can open up your contact list, right? Either your general contact or the list itself. You can search for the contact here and you can just bring up the contact. And at this point, you are looking at using these different tools, right? Either email campaign, SMS for those who have it. And today we're talking about the message here, right? Now it's an easy tool to use. You can see you have those different options here. We're going to be looking at how to set up basically pre-recorded message that we can use, right? Now you can see that when you open up this tool at the bottom, we have a lot of options here. And this is what we're going to be looking at expanding on, right? I'm going to bring your attention before we even craft a message here. Okay, I'm going to bring your attention over to the tools here, right? So we have here the ability of saving messages and also accessing them once they have created. So in fact, these are the type of libraries that you'll be able to pre-record, right? So you can see here, for example, they can be arranged by objective. So you can pre-build objective depending on the process of the conversation that you're at, especially if you have a good idea of the interest and how you're steering the conversation, right? At one point, these will become something that you know you have in store to send out when it's time to book a meeting, right? Or introduce a product. The topic of these conversation would also have you now think about what kind of link you're going to be embedded in these conversation, right? These are hot links, as we discussed yesterday. What the reason why we call them hot links is that when they are shared, if the person clicks on it, you get a notification. right? How could that be interesting? Yesterday, we covered the topic about the limited options that we have. Go ahead, Robert. You have something to add?
I don't know. I hear you fine, but Willie is saying asking if you could turn your volume up a little bit. I don't know where you're at on your volume.
Oh, let me just see. I think I have it in the maximum there, but let me see if we can do better. Um,
And then also check on your end, Willie. He is coming through loud and clear. My apologies.
mm, no, no,
Go
it's
ahead.
okay. I have it on automatic, so I'm gonna switch it and increase the volume. Does that sound better? A little bit louder for everybody? Good? Okay.
Sound
Perfect.
good to you.
Okay. So then these are important. For example, like I was saying, how could they come of use? Well, they're being tracked. So if I send you a connection message with a link and I get a notification the moment where you click on that link, I know that you have showed interest. It's now the time to get into the conversation. Even if the schedule says, well, after this message, wait 2 days to contact them. If I get a hot notification that this person has seen the message and clicked on the link, for me, it's a note of interest, thus making this lead hot. Don't let it go cold before you decide to engage in the next part of the conversation. Right? We mentioned that the more they click on the link, the more you will get fire emoji. Well, you don't need three fire emoji to know that the seat is hot and you need to react to the conversation. So this is important, right? How you get to create those is here, right? You have to, yes, load up basically a profile to be able to activate this option. When you click on attachment, it's going to open up basically the links, the library links that you have available, right? And you can basically copy the link, paste it in. So any link will do. For example, I'm going to go to the Nowsite, get started. Say I wanted to share link, or more importantly, share my affiliate link for them to go discover the opportunity. And then very simple here, I can place the HTTP link and name the asset because in fact it becomes a marketing asset. Now it's ready to be shared. I can just select it and decide to add it to the conversation. There are also other tools that we should be using if required, right? So you can use your AI profile to lead the conversation. Again, bringing back to the importance of calibrating your my AI profile properly, right? Using your writing style, your um, personality and such, the contact's personality. So all that information that comes in into the data, the personality analysis, you can feed it here, decide to feed it here, which most likely you should as much as you have the opportunity to, and you have merged the contact. This is important coming back to the type of prospect that we decide to talk to, because if we notice that
What
we
you say?
have a person, somebody has their
What you say?
phone open. Sydney, can you close your mic? So,
This is just the ones I use for white.
hello, Sydney. Oh, my mute. There you go. Sorry about that. So, so contact and personality data. This is important. Coming back to how well we know our prospect, because if they fall within an avatar profile, then we know that there are certain traits of personality that we already know that we will include in these messages that we will pre-craft, right? And again, you have the merge tags, the tones, and such. Okay, so this is very important, I think. On the other side, you also have a little bit more, right? So this is how you attach links when you're about to generate the conversation with the AI. But beyond that, you also have the option here of adding. And this is when um, Robert also mentioned prepare the content that you would want to add. Above links, we have videos. You also have images. So if you have promotional, sorry, I was working on an artist there, but if you have promotional flyers, well, now is the time to attach those into the content because if you get a hot notification of people having clicked on that link, discover the flyer, then you know what the following question would be. What did you think about the content that I sent you? Right? You can work on that assumption because you got that hot link, you did click on it. And they can say, well, I didn't really get the chance to take a look at it. Nav, this is what my client says. I sent them the link, they checked it, but they didn't get a chance. They said they didn't get, how do I turn this objection? Right? Could be as easy as, well, it's good if you didn't have the time. Great, I'm available to talk to you now. Here's the link. Click on it. I know that you click on things, so click on that link. Join me now. Right? We work on what we know already from the client. So this is important, and I definitely recommend. And again, now is the time to really start, for example, using the My AI. For this type of customer, can you write me a couple of connection message that I could use as a format, right? A follow-up to the last thing that we did. Coming back from the target audience, we had a draft, this avatar profile. Well, now we want it to craft a couple of messages that we could use to connect around a marketing interest, around this interest. Make sense for everybody? Questions so far? Okay, so you should really get busy, I think, even at the beginning, since, again, following the mechanics of what we were doing, right? We are already thinking about these conversation points as we are coming in here, right? Because if our tool is about wellness, then we know that the client will have a general interest in wellness if the opportunity is. So crafting information, hey, I see that you have this interest, so do I. Let's connect. You might be looking at these type of tools if you're interested in AI. Take a link and disconnect and talk about it, right? Sometimes the interest of somebody can go beyond you. It can be actually the need that they have to resolve. And by introducing the solution, they want to get to know more about you, right? So sometimes when we think, okay, maybe it's a little too direct to go at the conversation with an offer, well, it also depends on the prospect. If I have a busy prospect, a business-minded prospect, somebody looking for opportunity, which is what we tend to look for the second part of our conversation, then they have no time to waste. Neither do I. Let's go straight to that conversation. I see that you're interested in marketing and sales. So am I. I have this opportunity that I'm working for. Here's the link. You might be interested. Let's meet and talk about it. And these type of structured message can be things that you can repeat and change with the AI. Make sense? So very important, again, for the repeat, we come into the contact section. We can load up a prospect just to get access to the full functionalities, and we can start basically creating here. So for example, we share.
Hey, Virgil.
Yes.
So that we can give a really good example, let's start breaking them down to the 8 different stops that we have in the sales process. You know what I mean? Like, let's go with the cold outreach, the rapport, you know what I'm saying? Build a message for each one of those.
Absolutely. Here, for example, I'm taking the first one, the connection message, right? So that's always the most important here. So I'm going it very simple. I have an interest in we share an interest in marketing, right? Here, we're going to look for the first one, building a rapport. Building the rapport is also part of the connection, I feel, right? Here, for example, let's connect, right? I want to connect, and first attachment, right? Coming back to what we were discussing, the digital card is a perfect tool for a business connection, right? We share interests. You're a salesman, you're a network marketer, so am I. We should talk about it. Here's a show of force. Here's my digital card, right? And again, you have the option to tailor the image, the message here. We want to go to the mechanics. So I'm going to generate. And then I have my message. At that point, if I deemed it adequate. I'm going to go here, my messages. Oh, sorry, save. Sorry, save here, and we're going to start naming these messages. And like Robert mentioned, we're going through stages, right? We're going to go through. We're going to show you what they are here, and this is a good way. This is a good way. First connection, marketing connection here. Right? Again, you have the option at this point of choosing the language, right? Depending on who you're going to be talking to. For those who market across languages, right? The objective to connect. And you can see that you have in sequence these objectives, right? We have the connection. This is when cold outreach is happening. All right. The simplest way again is through the interest. I see you're a professional. I am too. We are birds of the same feather in this environment. Let's connect. Go see my profile. I gave you my digital card. It leads to all these other social media presence that I've established. And all these are what? Openings of my funnels. Because on these social media pages, you're going to be seeing posts with more links, more call to action, showing you that I'm credible, right? So you have to build a rapport. If the connection happens, for example, I just said, we put in a link, we go to LinkedIn. This person doesn't necessarily accept the connection, but clicks on the link, right? I can come back and say, hey, you have looked at the content, even another connection message if possible. Until, oh, by the way, LinkedIn, it kept me up all night. Did we find a resolution? I went and asked the Oracle, Google. I even went and looked at LinkedIn thinking that I could find the current limitation, but the only recurrent information that I kept on seeing was 100 connection weekly for free. And if you abuse, then they start cracking down. Um, if anybody finds more detail on that, please share as well. I'm activating the comment on the video. So during the week, if you see, put the comments and we can all come back and maybe discover that. But coming back to our prospect journey conversation, right? Because this is basically what it is. Often enough, I speak about the prospect journey. Well, this is the conversation journey that I'm about to have with this prospect. I need to connect. Building the rapport is breaking the ice. Building the rapport, for example, is a great opportunity for you to start talking about what you're doing. And if what you're doing is in line with the product that you're about to introduce, well, you're actually introducing the product at the same time, right? Gradually, you could tell them, this is what I do. And here, the opportunity would be the product. This is the opportunity that you could take advantage of. Let me send you this document and present it to you. Can you see that this is built on a logical step-by-step of conversation that you naturally are having? Hello, how you're doing? This is what I do. Let me introduce you to the opportunity. Take a look at this document. Take the time to take a look at it, and then we will follow up and discuss. And when you feel ready, get the documents together and we'll book the meeting.
This is making sense for everybody. Drop a 1 in the chat. I think this is very powerful and perfect information.
So you want to go in a sequence, first connect and build rapport. First
Exactly.
connect, then build rapport, and then introduce. Yeah, because they say when you're like, I have an emailing system and with outreach, you don't want to be too salesy at first, right?
Of course. Imagine if I came at you, John, and said, buy now. Let's book this meeting and you buy now. It could work if you were actively looking for this solution. But 9 out of 10, it's going to revert you back to, hey, who are you? Okay, what do you do? Talk to me more about what is this. Give me something to munch, and then I'll follow up. Let me book the meeting. Don't try to push the sell on me. Logically, if you look at this, you understand when you're having an objection, you are somewhere in between these, technically. If it's an objection to a meeting, maybe we shut too quick. If the conversation started very engaging and start lingering, maybe we're not going to the next step. We're staying here. And often enough, I see people stuck in this. What are we talking about here? Yeah. The moment where you said marketing, we're talking about marketing. Let's move to the product demonstration. Some
So
people are stuck
question,
here. Go ahead.
so is sales nav, isn't that supposed to help determine where you are in the sales process with each prospect so you
It's
know when to move to
guiding.
the next step?
It's guiding you, and you're following these process, and you should know if you're following basically the navigation, the step by step that we're giving you. Like I said, for example, Nav can tell you, reach out to this person on LinkedIn, wait 2 days before you follow up. That's the plan. But then we send this hot link, and right away this person clicks on it. Well, I'm not going to wait for this lead to go cold. I'm going to go right at it. And then I'll inform Nav. I was supposed to contact them in 2 days, but they replied early, so I went for the follow-up right away. Nav is keeping you also 2 steps ahead, right? Just in case you're lost, it's telling you 3 times every time. Make sense?
Yeah, but this works on a person-to-person basis. So you would work on each. So basically, you're working on each prospect one at a time with this.
That is what Nav is. Remember, in the realm of Nav, we're selling. And nobody sells with a blowhorn. They announce with a blowhorn to everybody. And then one at a time, when the customer comes in, you have to drop that blowhorn and deal with the paperwork for that client's need. Right? So this is Nav.
Yeah.
Nav is one client at a time. The idea is Nav is helping you speed up this process, taking the thinking out of it and keeping you in track each time of the way. Because even if you haven't set up your rotation or your follow-up as you go along, well, you're tracked. Right? So here, want to connect, save, pause. And now this message is here. And you can navigate to these different messages. Right? So you always have this in perspective. You have different things here for introducing Nowsite. This could become the substitute for introducing your product. Go ahead, Robert.
So I just want to piggyback off of what you're talking about and the importance here. And just to clarify too for everybody, John especially, I can tell you not everybody in here knows the sales process. So this is why I'm really happy that we're doing this and going through this so that people know that, yeah, there is a step-by-step kind of flow, if you will. And when you learn that flow and you utilize it properly, you'll see the benefits of that.
Exactly. This is a perfect case example for everybody that has been with Nowsite for some time of how fast evolution can get us to lose sight of the fine details, because Nowsite Nav is building on all these tools, and understanding the finer details of what you can do allows you to prepare yourself. And preparation is the art of everything. Right? Your only accomplished goal when you're best prepared. So if before I really start engaging in pooling prospect and cold outreaching to them, I have already prepared a sequence of message, because in the end, coming back to what we are facing, of course, there's more improvement coming, John, like the scoring. We were in the meeting before and you had that question in mind. These things are coming. The lead Nav that is coming, these are powerful tools, right? But they all bring us back to this environment, right? So it's important, again, that we keep in mind these basics. The sales flow conversation that Robert hinted on is the natural salesman conversation. And whether we want to realize it or not, we have all been subject to that. People have come to us following these steps meticulously. Every time you went into, for example, a superstore, a supermarket, and you have this agent there trying to sell you a card or something, well, he's applying these steps. Hey, sir, how are you doing? You looking for something? That was the connection. Let me help you. I work in the store that was building the rapport. By the way, there are a couple of promotions that are going on. Here's a brochure. You can apply it to any. You can tell that I've done that, right? I picked up that experience from there. This is why the tool kind of sounds natural to me because I had to practice this in the field. And this is why I say that most of people who come from the business and transferring to the tech savviness get lost in the tech savviness of the tool, but they are actually the strongest in the room because they know the people to people process. It's just transferring that to following digital pop-ups. Again, let's read these pop-ups because they guide us when it seems complicated. So you see here, this is what we're going to be doing. This is, to answer your question, what Nav is guiding me through. And again, if the hot links tells me, well, we have to wait on the 10th, but they react today, I'm going to plan on calling them on the 9th or following up the message on the 9th. Make sense? Questions?
Sales nav, when you're in there and you turn nav on, you just do what it says in this box where it says sales plan.
Exactly.
I think I've seen a message, the dialogue message popped up and said, research or research their background or something, or
Exactly. It would happen, for example, and this is where when you're importing leads, right? If we only have an email, I've seen cases like that. I have an account, just an email. If you give this to Nav, it's going to say, well, I only have an email. I know your business interest and I only have an email. Let's try to see if you can get more information on on this person. This comes back to the exercise that we did yesterday. When you're on social media and you're paying interest to these people, well, you're researching them, right? And again, comes back to this interest. I'm going to redemonstrate this here for those who weren't there. I am on Facebook, and today I have an interest. I want to talk to people that have an interest in marketing, right? So I'm just going to come here and look at what marketing gives me, right? I have Gene here. Okay, this is French. This is a business. This is another business. Okay, I'll see what Gene is about, for example. We're not friends. I do not know them, right? But now I have their name, right? They don't have a lot of information here. Let me view the profile and see. So I don't have a lot of information on him, but I already have this, right? If I choose here, for example, he's in poultry. I could be talking to him about boosting or bringing his business poultry online. I don't see any online assets. I did some client research here, right? I don't know what this person is into, but there's chicken on their banner. I'm pretty sure that this is a dead giveaway, right? Either they really pretty much love chicken, or they're about selling chicken. I did my research. I see here, well, this is one of my countrymen, so I know now that he's basically studying in this school. I know that he's in this city, right? As simply now as saying, hey, how's the chicken business treating you these days in Abidjan? Let's talk about it. Now here, from this basic conversation, I see, well, 1,000 follower. Hey, what about raising your following numbers on social media? Let me introduce you to my AI tool, right? Simple things like that. I can look at the post activity, for example. Oh, sorry. See the post activity, right? Oh, he's definitely in poultry. Okay. And I don't see any website. And what is the activity? Just as a marketing tool point of view, the last post was in November. There is a lag in promotion. I have identified a business opportunity, a business person, and a point of interest, right? He might need some graphic help too. If I have some kind of skills, let me rebrand you.
so
You
what
see
it's
how?
saying when SalesNav says research this person, it wants you to go to their social media profiles to research them.
Well, that's the quickest way to get information, right?
Yeah.
If imagine the go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, so what he's showing here is just examples. If you were going to go and find somebody in the marketing and just kind of browse around, as you were talking about that, Virgil, I just keep smiling and I can't wait until tomorrow
Wow.
when that's launched. Then all you'll do is take a screenshot of
Yeah.
it, put it in there. It's going to drop into your CRM. If there's enough information, there's your personality profile. Now you go to work with Nav and just plug in all the things that we're talking about. So
You see
tomorrow's
how
going
I'm
to
refraining from talking about it is
So when you
because
get the, so you go to the
I
social
go ahead.
media site and you get that information, where do you go and plug it in? Where are you plugging it in on here?
To get that answer to that question tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, same link, come in, take a look at that innovation. Okay. And
To answer
like,
though,
hmm?
John, you just enter it into Nav.
No, exactly. It's gonna feel
Where?
it's
Where? It's
gonna
on here?
basically it's gonna to answer your question simply, with the lead nav, you're gonna be able to go to social media, capture somebody's post or information, and nav will read that information and bring into the platform what we have, right? Most likely, you see the work that I was doing manually, going to their profile, looking at their about section, getting their description, getting to know them, seeing what links they have there. This is what we can expect lead nav to be doing. That's as much as I will say I haven't been fully trained on it. It's going to be a powerful tool again, once again, to speed up the process. Because now, if you grasp what we've been discussing and what we just said, what you're going to be doing next is introducing nav lead in this social media process. Because now, when I'm posting, after I'm done, I'm going to start paying special attention to what is happening around my post or in this industry, right? So the hunt begins. Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, but to answer John's question, if you
Mhm.
would, just click on Nav while you're in the contact and show him where he would respond. That was what his question was. Tomorrow, it'll make it a lot simpler, John, when we just take a snapshot and put it in there.
Okay, yeah.
Because okay, I got confused. Are you talking about the response part or uploading the content that you?
He was talking about two different things, but
Okay.
specifically, he was saying, okay, well, where do you tell that, where do you put that information once you go and research? And the answer is, John, is you would put it into Nav through the conversation that you're having. You would say, okay, I researched this person. This is what I found.
But Nav's also supposed to do that sometimes as well, do it on its own, right?
Well, depending on what information is actually pulled, you have to understand first off that if the information is out there publicly and we can pull the information, then that's great. If we don't have any information that's public, then we have to generate that little by little, right? Which is why you have your CRM that you can expand on. So once you know this person, hey, do you have a Facebook profile? Great. You get that link, you can put it in there. You got LinkedIn, you can add to that, you know. You got their address, you can add to that. The more information that you're storing within that CRM is the closer that you get to that particular contact and building that actual relationship, right? Then you find out, hey, well, John, is he married? Is he single? Does he have kids? All that stuff can be stored in your CRM that works in conjunction with your nav. So it'll pull up those personality profiles after it knows more about you, and it'll help you change those messages to where they're going to be more directly talking to the prospect the right way versus me trying to come up with some kind of conversation. Right? Make
Does that
sense?
answer the question, John?
Yeah, yeah, somewhat, yeah. I mean, but okay. So basically, you're going to spend it like if you want to do it full time, spend a few hours a day on this, just researching the client and then entering the information into SalesNav.
Well, I think that John, on your specific case, I can't tell you without looking at the information that you're talking about. But most times you're going to pull information you're not going to have to research other than going to their profile, like what Virgil's saying. I don't know. Did that contact just have Facebook or was it just email like he was mentioning?
Yeah, you're okay. One thing here, John, that you have to understand. I think your question, the last one at least, had two folds, right? Yes, you're gonna spend time in the office running your business, right?
Yeah.
So yes, you're going to be at times here pushing this button, posting. You're going to be here pushing these buttons, emailing. You're also going to be on social media looking at people's profile. What these tools are going to be doing is shortening the time, right? So, for example, manually, I went on Facebook. That part you'll have to do. You have to go on Facebook, right? But I was looking at profiles, and when I found one, I had to do research to see what information I could get to bring back into Nowsite, and start applying the sales conversation, right? Because the lead nav will help you extract information from the social media where you are and bring it into Nowsite. How you will find it in Nowsite? Logically, again, the contact will end up in the contact section. Does that answer the question?
Yeah.
And from there, once the contact is there with the information that you have, and of course the tools, you can maybe enhance or start the nav conversation based on that information. Make sense? So it's a
Okay.
step-by-step process. So all this, again, one thing that we have to come to terms with in this space is that we want automation. Yes, automation doesn't mean that we're out of the office and this is running on its own. No, we're still in the office, but the work that we would do in a 10-hour span, we're getting it done in 2-hour span.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to say too, man. I mean, it's all about working smarter, not harder, right, John?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So all of the things that network marketers like myself used to have to do to create campaigns and, create sales, what used to take us months, if not weeks or longer to create these campaigns and do these things. Now we can do them within the fraction of hours, minutes, or even days, right?
Mm.
Yeah.
So what we're learning here, and you have to understand too, everybody that comes into the network marketing profession is not trained on basic sales. They don't understand the flow of things, right? So we want to be able to teach you guys not only that these are the tools to utilize to build your business, but also how to build your business, right? From all the way at the very beginning points. Now, if we can go and give you tools that will maximize your time and minimize your efforts and make your life simpler, then that's a win-win situation, right? So now, instead of you spending 5, 6, 10 hours in front of your computer per day, only spend 2, 4, 6, whatever you determine is necessary for your business. But a lot of that time is going to ultimately be in conversations. That's what it really is going to come down to.
Exactly. It's when you're marketing, the balance is that, for example, if I'm talking about an hour or 100% in value, when you're in sales and marketing, well, you're going to be doing 70% the time, a lot of marketing, 30% in the conversation and scale and sales space. This is when you're doing this manually. But with these tools now, we're shifting the balance. For example, I used to spend hours crafting one email for that connection because that email was value, it was gold. And if you notice, a lot of sales program will have these golden nuggets pre-crafted. Somebody took hours to just write line per line this email so that when somebody opens it and reads it, they're pulled into this connection right away. Well, we used to have to write hours, spend hours for these. Now, at a click of a button, we get the AI knowing how we think, what our goals is, who's our customer base, and the intent behind the conversation, and craft this email. We should take the time to reread it. That's the last thing that we need to do, to calibrate it a little bit and then roll it out. You could spend a whole day just doing that, creating a 5-day email campaign before you can roll it out. Now you have the opportunity to have this done for you so that you can move to the next part, right? So this is what we're doing with this tool, and it's only getting better, creating even more ease at closing the distance between you and the customer. But in the end, you will be facing that customer.
And as an example too, John, if everybody in here pays attention to what we're showing you guys and you set up all those messages now, come tomorrow, you're gonna be like, holy cow, this is cool. Now all you do is go do a snapshot, put it into your contacts, and whoop, you're off to the
Boom.
races.
Okay,
So
yeah.
you're really closing the gap. And all that information, everything that we're doing is preparing you for that. Because when you're going to get these profiles, when you're going to be able to sit all day there and just upload people from Facebook, you're going to need also a quick, at a glance, being able to calibrate what is going on. So if you know from the get go, oh, I'm going to go look at these marketers all day, I'm going to probe Facebook with lead nav and get these marketers profile and create that list. I'm going to come back to these people with messages and most likely email campaigns and assets, right? So there's a lot that you get just from understanding where you're going. The tool is closing the gap for you. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Perfect. You just for you, John, you got two coaches. We expect great things from you. Pouring
Yeah,
so much information and energy in you, you're the chosen
Now, is
student.
there like I showed you that email system I have, but there's a lot of talk because I'm in school communities trying to learn lead generation and
sure.
marketing sales techniques, and there's a lot of talk with not just Facebook ads and Google ads, but also with email and LinkedIn outreach with A/B testing and split testing, A/B testing to see what messaging is working and what's not. So let's say you do send out mass emails with this system. Is the AI split testing it and analyzing it to see what's working and what's not?
I love the way you open these kind of worms, John. But before we continue, does anybody else have questions? Because we want to give the time for others to ask their question. We only have 15 minutes left. If not, we'll keep handling these cans of worm that you're opening because you're going into a different conversation altogether away from nav, away from Nowsite, right? This becomes an open forum where we can say, well, okay, this is what I heard, this is what I believe, this is what I practice, right? So let's see. Anybody else have questions or we continue on this exchange till the end?
And also, Virgil, like, not really, because this is a how-to, right? So
Hmm.
John's questions are definitely warranted. I wanted to say to John and everybody here in the room, as you're learning all this information, okay, don't overthink it either. To answer your questions when it comes to the whole A/B testing, yes, those are things that you need to do as you become more experienced and as you learn these different things. You're going to want to split test them. It's not going to automatically do them for you, but if you don't have the tools that we're showing you and utilizing tools so that you can get those numbers, you'll never be able to do those split testing that you're talking about, John.
Because I wanted to use this system in addition to email and LinkedIn outreach to replace buying leads and paying for paid ads. Because I was running paid ads on Facebook and I tried Google ads, and it keeps getting more and more expensive, and less
Yeah.
people answer the phone when you generate leads that way. So
Well,
it's and there's a lot of compliance issues now too. So this could be a much cheaper alternative.
well, that's the beauty of this, John, is you absolutely can do that. And I don't recommend that anybody do any kind of ads unless they have a system that they know that works. So if
Exactly.
you're out there paying
Well,
for
that's what
ads,
the A/B and split testing you're supposed to do
Well,
when you set up
just
campaigns,
we,
right?
we have Lori that has a question, but just to round this conversation, A/B testing applies that you know what A and B is and that you're testing. And this is what we're discussing as well, right? So definitely, John, keep coming back to these meetings. I love the fact, like I said, I love you have a lot of questions and you're looking at acquiring a lot of knowledge. All these are great questions and they're part of the process, right? Everything that you do has to be tested. I know what email conversation you're referring to and the tools that you are referring to. We just had that conversation. So there's a little bit of specification here that you are looking at. We'll cover that. Lori, what is your question? Unless it's related to that.
No, it's not actually. I'd like to have you continue moving on the sales process, that flow of rapport and what the next step is, because a lot of us, what we're doing is we've got products and services,
Mhm.
and that path, it's like a stepping stone path, right? I wanted to hear more.
Okay, we'll go back to that. It's really a natural process for the conversation. And you can see that it's here present in the objective. It's also present in the message structure that you're sharing, right? We can access it from here, right? Minus the specific ones that you have in the message here, okay, which are the ones that introduce Nowsite as a specific product, follow up on Nowsite or follow up on a product. Minus these, in the objective, these are the sales conversation flow, right? It's really, again, to start from the beginning, it's the natural process. I want to connect. I want to build a rapport. During that building a rapport, it's that discovery. Just like, for example, John was mentioning, it's telling me that we need to research a little bit to discover. Well, through this conversation, it could be a research. This is what I do in this space. What do you do? An honest exchange of information, right? So this is what it is. Introducing a product. I just finished and I'm discussing the whole process, the whole journey without necessarily writing the conversation. But as you saw, when I created this message, the idea around the conversation was simple. We are connecting based on a shared interest. So we share this interest. I would like to introduce myself to you. I actually, right, in this same message, if you noticed, I am connecting and also building the rapport. Some would say I even went as far as introducing the product just with one link. Because I say, hey, you like marketing, wellness, or you like marketing, whatever it is that you like, that I like too. I want us to connect on it. And based on that, here's my digital card. Now that digital card will lead them to conversation. And by them searching, clicking on that link, and I'm monitoring the hot link as we discussed with Robert, but by them researching, they are already showing me that they're building a rapport. So say I just sent a connection link and I noticed that they are clicking on that link. They have moved on to building the rapport themselves. They're looking for information. Just like I would be looking for information for them, they're looking for information for me, right? So just like I said, first message, connecting, I'm introducing myself. By the same, I'm building a rapport and introducing a product because I can show I have this marketing tool. It's called Nowsite. You have my digital card. It ends up by Nowsite. You click on the link. You see Nowsite. I'm introducing the product already without making a sale, right? So presenting. If we're breaking down this conversation, when we're presenting here, if we have introduced the product, we're presenting an opportunity, right? So the conversation technically should be where the benefit of the client is. If the opportunity, for example, if we are talking to a social media specialist that has an interest in getting more followers, then the benefit is this. Let me show you this aspect of our product that can definitely boost your interest, your marketing presence, your social media presence, right? So whatever we're formatting the conversation about would be that. Here, for example, if I wanted to build the presentation message, I'll skip ahead, but it's the same dynamics. Here, for example, I'm going to say, at this point, I want to present here the objective or the business product that we're presenting is marketing tool. And here, as brand. Sorry. Ambassador, you should be using this tool. And of course, already, go ahead, Keisha.
I'm loving everything I'm seeing.
Okay.
So I have a question. So I have with Legal Shield, we have a small business component, right? That a number of us are focusing on, especially at the start of the year. How does NAV help when we're doing business to business? When we're doing something like selling the Legal Shield small business plans to small and medium-sized businesses?
Okay. You touched based on that last time, I remember. And how does NAV help me or will help you, right? I'm going to double back here. I'm going to go, well, you don't have the well, I'm going to do this without having a prospecting tool, right? Business to business implies that within the business structure, there's somebody that is responsible for their HR. Legal Shield has to do with employee benefits. And within the structure or company, the person that takes care of employee benefits are the HR people. Of course, the boss also will take note of it. It's his money after all, right? So in the targeting, we can try targeting a boss that has an interest in employee relations. And every boss, every head of the company should have an interest in their employees' welfare, right? Because your company is as strong as the feeling that brings every employee to work. Good luck having a profitable company if all the employees hate being at work and hate you too. That's a rebellion coming, right? So every boss has his interest, but what I'm targeting is the employee relations. He wants to make sure that within his company, the employee relationship is great. And that would be the conversation point. I see that you're proud owner of your company. And as such, you should know the value of employee relationship and giving them more benefits. Here's a link. Here's what we do. Here's how we can boost your employee morale. And now I'm making up this conversation, but I'm using all the keywords that would speak to that owner. Switch the gear. I'm talking to an HR specialist. You have the ability to make sure that your employees' relationship match the expectation of your employer and the growth of your company. We have a link that can give more benefits to your employees at a lesser cost. Present that to your boss. I'm making rhymes too sometimes when I get inspired, but but that's the gist of it. Right?
Got you.
You're not
Got you.
talking to a business. You are targeting a business, but you're selling to an
Talking to an
individual.
individual. I got you.
Make sense?
So then I would put the business, the owner or the HR specialist into NAV as the contact person to do
Exactly.
the
And mind you, professionals are technically the easiest person to reach. They have objectives. They have to get these employees happy. So when you go into a company, you look at their company directory, the HR person has their name, their professional email there, sometimes their professional number. Right? They're open for business. How well you present yourself, because then the expectation is that this person is probably being targeted by a lot of people in this space. How well do I position the email or the approach to get them to notice me?
Gotcha.
This is where, for example, if people are just sending them email and I go to NAV and they say, well, this is the objective, send them a LinkedIn message with a link. Be straightforward. Be direct. You're an HR person. You have responsibility, short time. Here's a link. Click it. It will increase your benefit, your employee relationship and the culture of your company. I'm open to talk anytime. Right?
I like that.
So
Thanks.
that is basically it. So I assume, well, not true. I know the corporate world, so I know HR people, so I know who we're talking to. Right? Even though I don't know the business, Legal Shield, I can't boast that, but I know the customer, so I can make up a sales conversation there.
I got you.
Okay, perfect. So same thing again. For example, that would be a connection message with an HR. Here, for example, we have great employee benefit package. Sure to boost your.
Hey, Virgil, we have to end soon. We have a long.
Perfect. So, or at the end at this point. So we'll continue next time. So I'll stop the sharing. But I think we all got the essence of the conversation. Let's prepare ourselves for this space, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.